Great peace, great peace, great peace. In this video, I want to talk about young men and choosing the right wife or the right girlfriend in this day and age. Now, I just saw something on the news where 3 women were in a car. I think it was like, one of those new cars that people rent out, and they were doing high speed in it. They were high speeding in it. And I think it was like a Charger or something like that, maybe. And the women, they got in a crash, they lost their lives. This correlates with what I'm going to talk about with the young men and this culture that we have where everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be known for doing the wrong things. They don't want to be known for philanthropy. They don't want to be known for giving things or helping other people. They don't want to be known for that. So you have young men who are in high school. They may be just getting out of high school and they're still single. Their parents, or if their father is in their life, their parents are basically telling them, like, you're either going to go to the military or you're going to go to school, or, you're going to get a job. You know what I mean? Because you got to make enough money to get out the house, right? So what you're seeing right now is the young men, they're in a situation where they're having slim pickings. I know, like, for myself, when I was in high school, there was one particular girl. She approached me, and, I looked at her and whatnot, and I was thinking, like, she's popular, right? She's very popular. She kind of looked like Megan Good, kind of. And she was talking to me, and she went over my house. She met my mother. She saw the photo album. She brought a friend with her so she can see us. And, that was probably the last time I saw her because I was getting ready to leave the city. Well, when I came to Michigan, right, and I noticed a lot of young people who leave Chicago and they come to, like, places like Grand Rapids. They come to places like Detroit, and they don't like it. You know what I mean? Because, like, they left behind Chicago. That was like this big city, and everybody meets everybody around those ways. Like, you live on the south side of Chicago, you're going to see people outside every single day. If they're not standing on a block, or they're not walking around at the park, they're not going to the library, they're not going to the movies, they're not going to the skating rink, you're going to see them. Well, in Detroit, Grand Rapids, it's a little bit differently. Ann Arbor is different in these places. You're not necessarily seeing people, who you went to school with necessarily, maybe sometimes. But you notice that when you're in places like Grand Rapids or you're in places like Detroit, you got to go to areas where there's, like, high activity of tourism in order to meet people. It's not that way in Chicago. You in Chicago, you meet people as you go. Soon as you walk outside your house in Chicago, you're going to see someone walking past your house. It's not like that in Detroit. If you see someone walking past your house in Detroit, you probably have a Ring camera up, so you don't know who they are. And that's what I've seen, right? So you see, like, young people, they don't know how to approach women in these situations when they're in high school. I noticed that. It was kind of different in Chicago, right? Everybody was doing everything. But, like, you notice, like, a lot of the young kids or a lot of the young men in, like, places like, Grand Rapids or Detroit, they have hard time, getting to know the women or getting to know the young lady, and, while trying to court them. So this right here is just like a saying that to just, like, kind of go with. Meet people with where they're at. Absorb people in their energy. Observe people and how they act, because this is going to tell you who you're getting to know in a situation where you're trying to court them or get to know them. You need to know, like, what does this person like to do? What do they like to eat? What is their emotional energy like? This is why it's good to court women in some places like Detroit and Grand Rapids, because you get to see like how they really are. And places like Chicago, it's kind of like iffy in a way, because like you don't know if she's talking to someone already. You don't know if some other guy is trying to get with her and they don't want you to get with her. It's kind of different. But I noticed like each place in America, they have their own courting systems and their own ways of doing things. That's what I noticed. So like, this is a word of advice for young men out there who are trying to find friendship or who are trying to find love after high school and going into college. Go to the military. You're going to meet women in the military. Stay in the military. If you have to leave early, then do that. But again, the thing that you want to do is you want to get experience in dealing with women. Going to the military will allow you to do that. You will learn how to court women a little bit better as far as the women you're equipped to handle. Because you'll know your pressure points. You'll know how to deal with certain people. You'll also know how to deal with your superiors in a position that, you get out of the military and you find a job. So I would say do that. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Talk to the women. Let them know that you're interested. Don't necessarily try to shy away from asking for their number or asking them if they want to go out and get something to eat. Don't necessarily be afraid. So think of it that way. Great peace, Yakoki.